Instead, it sniffed him. Grayson didn't know what to do, but then this thing proceeded to lick him in the cheek, and it put on a grin on its face. Then it went into Grayson's body and didn't come out, and just like that it began. Grayson's skin turned scaly and green. He grew a tail. He felt as his tongue grew longer. He felt his nails turn into claws, his eyes went green, and then his teeth grew sharp. Then he began to get a vision in flashbacks. He was in the desert of Arizona thousands of years ago. He was chosen to guard and be a warrior of the prophet. He became a lizard monster, and eventually, every century, the lizard monster chooses a worthy warrior who's willing to do whatever it takes. The host is given fast generation, enhanced strength, enhanced speed, and free control of turning into the monster whenever it needed to. The vision ended and Grayson was now the reptilian, and now the spirit in him needed to do shady stuff, such as getting dinner as it hadn't eaten in centuries, and with Grayson blinded, he set out to do so. Grayson jumped back into the water and began to swim back out to the lake. Once he exited the cavern, his enhanced hearing picked up the sound of the helicopter patrolling the area, so he swam to the other side for another exit out of the lake on the opposite side. Once he made it, he didn't need to walk out of the water, he jumped out, and in front of him was a couple, and well, he pounced at them. He stabbed his claws through the guy's chest and bit the side of his neck, killing him off. The girl screamed instead of running and got her neck snapped. Reptilian began to feast on his two victims and enjoyed his meal. Once he was done, he stole the guy's fit. He put on his hoodie and his jeans to try and disguise himself. From the moment Grayson ate the couple, Reptilian had arisen. The sky was now starting to get dark, but he wanted to go see Alexandra, and that's what he did, even though he was 2 miles away from her, but he still wanted her attention, so he began to kill people, just so he could get the attention. There was a man driving by the freeway when the car got flipped. The guy hit his head on the steering wheel and caused him to get blurry vision. He saw a figure approaching him. He thought it was help until he realized it was a huge lizard, but before he could scream, the reptilian decapitated him, yanked the body out and left him on the sidewalk and flipped the car over again and began driving back. While he was driving back, he saw a gas truck and saw there was a lighter on the dashboard, so he grabbed it and lit a small piece of his sleeve that he had ripped off on fire and threw it at the truck. The truck exploded and killed the surrounding drivers. Reptilian laughed and hissed. The dark part of him was slowly overtaking Grayson. He began speeding on the freeway at around 100 miles per hour. Once he got to the exit he was supposed to take, he committed 3 hit and runs, leaving all the victims dead. The police were on high alert for Grayson and whoever else was committing these murders. He was off the freeway, and now moreover 10 helicopters were surrounding the area. Everything was being put on the news instantly. People were hearing about the amount of killings going on today. It was almost unbelievable. It didn't feel real. Reptilian had gotten to the school, and at this point it was night, and he was only there to try and get Alexandra's scent, to which he picked up on instantly. At this point Grayson was unrecognizable, not just physically, but personality wise and behavior wise. The power began turning him bitter. He was becoming more of a savage than a warrior guardian. It got to the point where the reptilian spirit wasn't the monster, it was Grayson becoming the monster, and now there was no going back. Reptilian kept his head down and acted normal to get past people, to which they ignored him to a point, but those that paid close attention noticed its feet. Part of Reptilian's sleeve was ripped and his skin was exposed, and little by little calls began coming in about a giant humanoid lizard roaming the streets of Arizona. The police believed the callers because the situations that had happened earlier that day, so they got the SWAT on standby. Reptilian made his way to Alexandra's house, and out of sheer luck, she was outside with her dog. Reptilian walked over with his head down and said, "Hey, excuse me." Alexandra overheard and replied, "Yeah, are you okay, sir? Do you need something?" Reptilian responded, "I just need some advice. Do you think you could help me?" Alexandra said, "I can try." Reptilian replied, "Thank you." Alexandra asked, "What kind of advice do you need?" Reptilian replied, "This might seem weird, but my girlfriend got mad at me for doing something that I shouldn't have, but I want to make it up to her. What do you think I should do?" Alexandra responded, "I think that you should obviously apologize, but do it in a way that you know she'd like." As they had their conversation, someone noticed and recognized them as the lizard thing and called the police. The SWAT had been on their way there the moment they began talking. When nearing the location, they got off the vehicles and began walking their way there to avoid alerting Reptilian. Alexandra got done telling Reptilian her way of apologizing when she got alerted. From behind Reptilian, the SWAT signaled Alexandra to run, to which she didn't understand at first until she looked down and saw the green scaly feet with sharp claws. Alexandra began to back up slowly and said, "I have to go. I hope the advice helps you." Reptilian knew she had seen his feet and he had heard the SWAT creeping up on him, but he acted as if he didn't know. When Alexandra turned her back, Reptilian said, "Wait, Alexandra." Alexandra turned around and asked, "How do you know who I am?" Reptilian said, "It's me," and looked up. Alexandra's expression indicated fear and said, "I don't even know you." That's when Reptilian said, "Do you like anyone?" At that moment, she said, "Grayson, what happened to you?" Reptilian replied, I don't know. I need your help, please." Alexandra responded, "You killed Bryce." Reptilian said, "I'm so sorry I killed your boyfriend. I was just blinded. I wasn't thinking straight." Alexandra said, "Bryce wasn't my boyfriend. He was my cousin. Grayson, I had feelings for you. I was playing hard to get this morning. I wanted to tell you, but I backed out. I got nervous." Reptilian said, "What have I done?" His heart shattered. It began racing. He grabbed his head. Alexandra said, "Grayson, I'm sorry, but you're a monster." Reptilian said, "I'm sorry," as he cried. At that moment, he was extremely vulnerable. Alexandra didn't feel bad. She had moved on instantly and regretted ever liking Grayson. Reptilian didn't move. He was in shock, but he heard as one of the SWAT members pulled the trigger and, out of instinct, got out of the way. But when he looked up, he saw the bullet go through Alexandra's chest. In that moment, Reptilian saw everything in slow motion and screamed, "No!" As Alexandra couldn't scream, the bullet went through her heart, killing her instantly. Her body collapsed, and in that moment, Reptilian knew it was all his fault and began to enrage himself with anger, and he lost it. Reptilian roared and ripped off the clothing off of him and took a stance. Now he was having a standoff with the SWAT. "Take it down," yelled one of them. Everyone began shooting at Reptilian, but with all that anger, he went on a rampage. There was 10 total members, and now Reptilian was motivated to take them out too. The bullets hit him, but didn't go through, but it did sting and leave a mark. Reptilian roared and sprinted directly into the line of fire, taking bullets to the head and chest. He jumped into the air and pounced on the one who said, "Take it down," and decapitated him. 9 more to go. Now they had more intention to take him down. Reptilian picked up a car and launched it at 3 more members. They got stuck underneath the car, and Reptilian walked over to them and crushed their heads by using its stomping power. 6 more to go. The remaining 6 called for backup, but Reptilian had it in the bag. He tail whipped one so hard, enough that he cracked the member's spinal cord, paralyzing him. Reptilian scratched one of them so hard he ripped their arm off. Reptilian roared again, but then the remaining 4 members threw flashbangs, and that seemed to stop Reptilian. He was blind and began whipping its tail around. Then their backup arrived. Once Reptilian was able to see, he saw a sewer entrance and began running towards it. There was guns being fired and flashbangs being thrown at him. Reptilian closed his eyes, and of course it didn't do much, but the effect was much shorter. Reptilian removed the cover to the manhole and threw it randomly, killing off an officer on impact. Reptilian jumped into the sewers and began to run away. The police threw flashbangs, but Reptilian was long gone. Reptilian managed to get away via sewers, but at what cost? He had lost everything. Now he would be lurking in the shadows. You see, Grayson was blinded by love and did things he shouldn't have, but was blinded enough to not see the wrong in it. And because of it, he became a monster, not just physically, but action-wise, a monster forever.